scary thing about today's first story is it relates to the very latest convenient technology that probably many buyers are jumping to get without realizing it exposes them to a new form of theft.
By now, most motorists would know or should know about the dangers of remote signal jamming. It took many years for the warning notices to go up on the walls of shopping malls, but essentially, and it still happens, I'm quite sure, you go to lock your car with your remote, but nearby a lurking thief engages a signal jammer, very easily acquired, so that your car doesn't literally get the message and remains unlocked, allowing them to help themselves to whatever you have stashed in your boot, and in so many people's cases that involved a laptop. So yeah, smash and grab is just so last century. That. And most insurers, of course, won't cover such losses, as their policies state that your car must be locked when you leave it, and it's your responsibility to check that you actually did lock your car with your remote and not to be on your phone or looking away.
It's so
or something
easy
like
to be
that.
distracted. I mean, Wendy, I physically check the door handle every time I walk away from the car because I have seen so many messages just in my own little WhatsApp neighborhood group about it happens outside that shopping center and near that garage.
It's still very much a thing.
Very pervasive.
Yeah. But today, we want to talk about
a slightly different iteration.
And it's not just taking things out of your car; it's taking the whole car without smashing, or breaking and entering, as used to have to happen in the old days. So, if your car has a keyless push start, then this one's definitely for you. And I must say, even the little budget cars, such as the new Toyota Agya, have that. I know because a relative rented one in the last week. So that technology has gone right down into entry-level cars. And that makes you a potential target for thieves who, as I say, make off with your entire car. And they do so within minutes of you parking it, usually in a shopping center or business parking lot, that kind of thing. It's been happening overseas for the past 6 years ago, but it is fairly new to South Africa. So what happens... is crime syndicates receive orders. This is not new for certain types of car, and their foot soldiers then carry out those orders. Luxury cars and big SUVs mostly get smuggled through our borders, and the smaller hatchbacks get sold locally.
Yeah.
And what they do is, if you watched Carte Blanche, as I did a couple of Sundays ago, you would have seen these syndicates at work, thanks to CCTV coverage.
Yep.
So you get out of your car, and then you head for the shopping centre entrance, for argument's sake, and then the would-be thief or the thief slips in behind you. They're carrying a laptop, usually, sometimes a backpack, but you wouldn't notice. It's fairly common these days. Yeah, they just blend in, and they get within usually 5 meters of you, and what they do is they essentially your key. It's not really a key, but what else do we call it?
That triggers the car to start.
That little fob.
Yeah.
It's constantly giving out signal, right?
Okay.
And the apparatus is able to capture this signal on a repeater. They return to the car, and in the one case that was featured on Carte Blanche, it was within 30 seconds.
Gosh.
Return to the car reads the signal off that repeater,
and
they throw a signal jammer into the car somewhere to thwart the tracking device from from allowing the car to be traced. The starter motor is unscathed. There's no confrontation of the driver. They later on use that information, that signal that they have captured, to program a new key so they can sell the car. It's
with
untouched, provided they don't
goodness.
crash it on the way. But it's a pristine, it's as pristine as it was when you
parked
parked it.
Wow.
And the key looks fine. It is a lot less traumatic than a hijacking for the vehicle owner, but the result is the same. You're left without a car.
So, I mean, Wendy, the fact that it's happening is a given. If the manufacturers know that it's happening, are they doing anything to try and counteract this particular risk?
Yeah, I think they're both scrambling. On that segment, Carte Blanche segment, we saw a Ranger, if not two, Ford Ranger Bucky being stolen this way, and there was also a Toyota Land Cruiser, if I'm not mistaken. It was CCTV coverage, so a bit hazy. But the producers of the show did speak to Toyota South Africa, who said it's taken them 12 months to get to the point where they feel secure about the fix that they've come up with. And so this updated thief foiling feature will be rolled out in new Toyota models, and owners of existing models can get an upgrade done in their dealership. So that is something.
So they've developed a fix, but you've got to go and ask for it if you've already
How
got one of these
long the
cars.
fix will last before the
thieves find a new way
find
around
a workaround, exactly. But that's the situation for now.
Okay, so that was Toyota saying they've got the fix and it's being rolled out standard with new models, and if you've got an existing older model with that keyless entry, you can go and ask them for the fix, whatever it is. You also mentioned Ford. Wendy, I know you've had some engagement with Ford on this.
I did get hold of Ford. They say, yes, we're aware of this criminal activity, and they stress, as they would, that thefts and keyless entry units are not unique to any brand and our global issue, and we get this. So, yeah, it's not a Ford specific problem. Corporate communications manager for Ford South Africa, Dudu Dlele, said the manufacturer's security team monitors and investigates new ways that criminals are targeting its vehicles. For keyless entry Ford models, we advise Ford customers to use our Faraday pouch to store and hold the vehicle key. It was introduced to local consumers in 2021. And when you put your key inside this Faraday pouch, the layers of metallic lining help to prevent external signals from having any effect on the key. It's recommended that the key be placed inside this very slim and lightweight pouch as soon as you get out of the vehicle and the doors are locked. And you can get it from a Ford dealership at a cost of 243 Rand, which includes VAT. So it's not a...
Was that not the same thing that at one point was being recommended for cell phones, Wendy, when everybody was worried about cardless transactions or for credit cards or something like that?
It was a wallet to put your cards into.
That's right.
But
same concept.
Yeah, but from all the research I did at the time, it was you don't need it. It's unnecessary because the card encryption or whatever. But it would seem no one's saying that with
the
regard
keyless
to the situation
thing.
with your push start. Yeah, and then she added, in the next generation Ranger and Everest model ranges, customers will have the option to disable passive entry functionality as an alternative measure. So the signal will not be transmitted from the key, and the vehicle is therefore not vulnerable to a signal extender attack. And I thought, wow, it's old tech, employing old tech to stay ahead of today's tech-savvy thieves.
That's quite something.
It is.
Okay,
sad.
So it's sad that we have to get there, but yeah. Okay, so the Faraday pouch, very interesting. So that's the actual metallic lined pouch you can put the key into to protect it in your pocket, and nobody can come and scan its signal without your knowing about it. And then the other option is the good old-fashioned simply disable the tech.
Yes.
Is that happening already or still a way off?
It's well, I got this information last week, so it's not here yet. In the meantime, what they are going to introduce, and it's, as I say, she didn't say it was here already, are motion sensing keys on certain Ford lines. So they'll add another layer of defense, as they do not continuously transmit the radio frequency signal, as is currently the case, but they only transmit while the key is in motion.
Gosh.
So the innovative key fob detects when the key has been stationary for longer than 40 seconds and triggers a sleep mode, which will not respond to attempts to hack its signal. But I mean, if you're walking,
your key's in motion in your handbag or in your pocket.
So yeah, that's so. I think the fobs are a way to go. There's what a Faraday pouches.
Faraday pouches. I mean, Wendy, have you had a chance to actually see if they work or not?
Well, I haven't had one case study to share with you, and it happens to be my own.
Okay.
So watching that story, my vehicle has this push start functionality. So I thought, okay, partly in reaction to the show and partly to see, does this actually work? I Googled Faraday pouch while the show was still on, and bought one of these things, pouches from Takealots, as one does. Julie arrived and put the key in the pouch. My partner and I sealed it properly, and then they suggested you test it, obviously. So you get into your car with your key safely
inside the pouch,
encased in the pouch, and then you press the thing and the car started.
Okay, so it shouldn't have started.
It shouldn't
because
have
in
started.
the pouch, it shouldn't have been able to read
the car
the signal.
shouldn't have been able to read exactly. So
But it did.
I sent it back and to Takealot, and you instantly get not instantly, but very quickly get a credit or refund, no questions asked. But I said to them as a media query, please can you engage with your supplier about this product? I suspect that the material doesn't live up to the claim, rather than this just being a one-off defective sample.
Okay, so Takealot did refund you, but did they then engage further with the supplier that supplied that item, Wendy?
Okay, well, it's a sort of halfway there response. We've disabled, says Takealot, the sale of the product, while our seller, and it was called the Anti-Theft Carbon Fiber Waterproof RFID Key Fob Protector Pouch.
Wow. The Anti-Theft Carbon Fiber Waterproof RFID Key Fob Protector Pouch.
And we actually got two.
Okay.
It came as a 2-pack. While our seller compliance team liaises with the supplier to verify the product's efficacy. Once this is complete, we will be able to provide feedback on our decision on listing the product going forward. So, for me,
I'm on Takealot right now looking at a 2-pack car key signal blocker pouch bag Faraday fob protector case. I don't know if it's the same product you bought or not. Have a look in the ad break and tell me if it's the same one, Wendy, because if it is, it's still being sold.
No, it's a different
It's
one.
not. Okay. All right, so maybe that variation is a little bit more effective. But well done for flagging it with
As I
them.
say,
Okay.
it could be that there was just some little flaw in the material that I couldn't see.
The individual one you received. Yeah.
Hopefully that's the case. But the bottom line is, if you do invest in one of these things, and if you're getting it from the dealership of the brand of car you have, then test it in the dealership to make sure that it works.
It actually works, yeah.
So you don't want to be having misplaced sense of security around this product. And then if whatever brand you have, go to your local dealership and discuss what workarounds they have, what they can sell you, whether there's an upgrade they can do or whatever, because we
want to reduce the risk.
We absolutely want to reduce the risk. I mean, imagine just popping in to do one little thing in like 2-3 minutes, collect something or whatever. You come out and your car's
gone.
Trace, no broken glass like the old days.
Just gone. Vix emailed me to say my partner's car was remote jammed at Lower Takai Forest, and the only people around were a couple with their kids picnicking, but their car blocked my car. We don't know if that had something to do with it. It was either them or someone hiding in the bushes somewhere. And my partner usually checks her doors, but didn't think it was necessary because there was nobody else around. So take that as a lesson not to take for granted
signals
that there's
travel
nobody.
far.
Yeah, they travel further than you think. I'm really sorry that happened, Vic. Okay, before we take a short break on the subject of cars and tech, somebody's WhatsApped Wendy saying the Bluetooth and built-in hands-free functionality in my Ford suddenly recently stopped working. The dealership tells me I need to upgrade the car's software to reactivate these functions at a cost of 950 Rand. Surely this is extortion. Nobody informed me I would have to pay Ford a sporadic activation fee for basic functions at their discretion.
I'm taking the car's out of warranty, because if it's in warranty, then I would say there's no justification for them charging that. If it's out of warranty, I'm afraid you are pretty much at their mercy, because there's nothing legal that would prevent them from upgrading and making you pay for it. Yeah, unfortunately. Sorry.
Okay, thank you though for the WhatsApp. We're going to stay in the realm of motoring queries as we head into the second half hour of the show, following up on the question that came through last week around repair bills and quotations. But just to say again, if you've had any personal experience with the signal jamming experience, whether it be the old version where they jam your remote, or with this new version of copying the signal by coming up close to you and basically stealing the signal off your key.
This is Floris here from Booster. Is the steering lock still a good type of deterrent to keep prospected car thieves away? Yeah, or can that be easily unlocked? Okay, have a good show. Bye.
Thanks, Floris. Andrew actually just called in to say he's been using a steering lock forever and still believes it's the best way to protect your car. I always did in my student days, Wendy.
So did I, and I stopped using it. But funnily enough, Thanks for that question, because when I was doing my research on this issue, it came up quite a few times, recommended by some manufacturers. It's another example of going low tech to thought
the
it
thief,
could just make the intended thief move on to the next one. I mean, it's a funny thought, because often it's these quite luxury, high-end SUVs, 4x4s that are targeted.
Yeah.
And when have you ever seen lately a good old-fashioned steering lock
God.
on one of those? But actually, maybe they're missing a trick. Maybe they should be relying more on the old tech than on the
new.
The new. The new trick is making them vulnerable. And the sort of look, the push start is not a safety feature. It's a convenience thing, but it's making them vulnerable unless they take steps to ensure that they've got the latest technology that their particular manufacturers had to scramble to come up with to thwart it.
I'm trying to remember the little rhyme I had when I was a very new driver, Wendy, as I parked my car and was preparing to get out. It was like, the car is off, the radio's off. Learned that one the hard way several times. The steering lock's on, the handbrake's on, the car's in gear, and I'm out of here. That was my little 6-point check before getting out of the car.
If you wake up for an early flight in the morning and you leave home and it's slightly dark, so you have your lights on. It's happened to a friend of mine in Durban this week, and it lightens up quite a lot by the time you get to the parking. I mean, that's why you forget. And all the airports, the major ones, have permanent crews with jump starting equipment, etc.
It happens so often.
It happens so often. It happened to our friend. She's in her 50s, and she said she felt so stupid. But the guy said, "This is daily, all the time. Don't worry. So put your lights off. It can be added."
Listen, if you knew how many times I ran the battery flat outside school listening to CapeTalk while I waited for the kids to come out,
Good reason.
Wendy.
Lunch with Pippa Hudson
on CapeTalk.